All right, thank you, Charmer. Thank you, Alec, for saving me right there. Now that it's just the two of us, we can start to flesh out a little bit more about what we expect to see here. So highlighting the Baron Laners champion pools. We'll be keeping track of that throughout pick and ban if that Darius is taken away. Who's picking what, because Tribe are on the blue side, Cloud9 are on the red. But when we look at the rest of the champ pools, rest of the comfort picks for these two teams, what are other champions that we need to be keeping our eyes on?
Ooh, that's going to be interesting. I know Sam had highlighted earlier for Meals, big priority on things like the Corki, but also having the pocket pick of the Aurelian Soul. The two lanes that I kind of want to look at alongside the Baron lane that we had talked about is what T-Tigers and Tarzane are going to do, and then a little bit later on what the Baron or what the Dragon laners are going to do, because T-Tigers and Tarzane have been such pivotal members when you look at what they're able to do in the game, and obviously Tarzane has such a unique champion pool to some of the other junglers here.
Plays a very aggressive style as well. So Cloud9, they like to draft around that, and Tarzan's champion pool is difficult to ban out, but Tribe's not even looking at that. They take away the Thresh, the Corki, and the Renekton as their three bans to start us off here. So focus more on those solo laners and then the flex of the Corki. Cloud9, it's all about this Dragon lane. They do not want old school and Max Green onto any of these power picks.
No, Old School is by and far one of the best Dragon laners that we've seen here in North America, and has been on a dominant tear alongside his team. When you look at this, I mean, Griff, a rather new AD carry, but has had such explosive highs that we've seen throughout the third major and even here in this own tournament. And with the role swap Jackie in support, I'm looking forward to see what this Dragon lane can do against, you know, some of the kings of the lane.
Griff's looked pretty good in that first match that we saw of the day with the quick 2-0 over Sentinels. But Tribe Gaming, they prioritized this Camille, locking it in on that blue one pick. But Darius was up. It wasn't banned away. And that means Cloud9 are actually going to be the team that grab it.
Wow, okay. This feels like if you turn nameplates off, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is a Tribe draft on red side, and Cloud9 are going and picking up the Zyra Khan. Zaya did get a small buff this patch, so I'm excited to see what she can do, especially with the bot lane pair, to try to boost her win rate and see what happens.
For reference, the reason I highlighted the Darius as well ahead of the match is Zello is only 1 and 2 on this champion. He's only played it 3 times so far throughout the majors. So interesting to see Cloud9 go for that. But the answer to the Isaiah Rakan is the Ezreal plus Olaf. So they're grabbing their Dragon laners. Ziggs going into the mid lane, holding their support to the last second. The Tribe round out their draft with the Ahri and the Garen.
Oh my god, is Jackie actually going to play? Okay, that's just a Soraka lock-in. Unless I hear something different, I'm going to go along with that. This is such a different style from what we've seen from Jackie. Kangas, just think about this. If I tell you a player from support is able to play Thresh, Lux, and Soraka, are those all one player? Like, that's just impossible. You never obviously identify. Sometimes people dip into 2 different styles, but not all 3. And I'm excited to see what Jackie can do here.
It's usually either the tank, either the enchanter, or the burst mage. Rarely do you find those players that will play all 3 of them. And an interesting draft take from Cloud9 going into this best of 3 against Tribe. They've played up against Tribe one other time in a best of series throughout the summer. That was in that first majors where they got knocked out 2-0. Hoping for some revenge against Tribe, who has kind of dodged them since then. But we are loaded in for game number 1 here, Alk. The winner will go up against Immortals in the upper bracket finals, but they got to win 2 games in a row first.
And obviously, they just need to find a win. And with Darius here against the Garen matchup, I'm looking forward to what Zello can do against Chuck. You see that they're kind of doing a little bit of a scuffle in the river, just saying hi to each other, doing some love taps against one another as the God Kings themselves. But I did want to touch a little bit on this Baron matchup, because Soraka is such an interesting champion that we haven't seen a lot of. We've only seen it once before, I think, from memory, especially in the last third circuit here in the third major. But I really like Soraka here. It's a pretty low damage composition in my mind coming out from Tribe, where you have very high burst damage coming out from someone like the Ahri. And if you can just put down the Equinox, if you can get through that burst healing with the ultimate and with the Star Call, I think this is a fantastic pick, and I'm excited to see how Jackie performs on it.
And we're talking about that Baron lane matchup, but actually let's bring it down here, because Jackie getting engaged on Tribe. Ooh. Go for it and find the first blood to start off the series.
Oh, man. And that has been one thing that I have noted about Cloud9, is they do have a little bit of a tendency to misposition. Usually it's not in the laning phase. This is a little bit new for them, but Jackie can tend to kind of overextend for his carries to try and protect them. And we see right there, the Rakan just goes in. We get to see the dominance of Max Green.
That happened multiple times in the Sentinels series as well, but Tribe, they're not just going for the bottom lane play. They also get flash out of Meals in that mid lane, and Tigers will actually go up here, having the Scuttle leashed a little bit by Chuck. I want to bring us back to that point that I made before, as ironically we're talking about the Soraka, and she dies, but still can impact the rest of the map regardless.
Hey,
Once you hit level 5, you get that ultimate available, but oh no, it's not going to end.
Oh.
Another kill. Let's stop talking about Jackie.
Yeah.
We have no more casting curses for Jackie every time.
Right. Well, results-based analysis is telling me this is bad, and I think Zello is trying to bait him because they see him on the ward. Olaf is coming. Zello?
Oh, the flash from Tigers looking to hard commit onto this. Zello's buying time for Tarzan to join in. Tigers will get the kill. Hextech ultimatum. The Ziggs bomb will come up, and still Tarzan's unstoppable. Trades the kill. Cloud9 can equalize there, and with Meals roaming up here, maybe they dive Chuck. I don't think there's an angle for that.
Goes for the 1v1, and this is a very dangerous position that I think Cloud9 now find themselves in. Not only is Tarzan a little bit behind, did get double scuttled, and when you have someone like Ezreal, the Soraka, and the Ziggs, it's so difficult to get into the river, to get into objectives if you're behind. You want to get there first, set up your battle lines, and take control of choke points, and it's just not possible, especially the deficit that's happening, and they're setting up for this dive here. Cloud9 getting a little bit of a taste of their own medicine right now.
What did I say, Alec? Don't mention Jackie.
Don't look at him.
Talk about
don't look
Soraka.
at him.
We don't need to worry about that. A replay of this top lane dive. I like this early play from Tribe. I feel like this is harder to pull off the later the game goes, though. Soraka, once you have ultimate, and we saw the Ziggs bomb coming up, too. That's the point I was going to mention about Cloud9's draft, but they don't even get a chance to play topside. They're just hard dove bottom lane again. A double kill over to the AD carry. Old school. Getting fed in this early game.
Okay, and that's just super impressive from them. I mean, Tribe just showing off mechanics. I love that coming up from starting. I know Charmer is probably a huge fan in the back right now, but the Ahri play in this tournament so far, aside from the Sentinels game, has been superb, and I think is kind of fixing some of the narrative that we've had here on the broadcast about how much we hate Ahri. But when you play it like an assassin, you play it how it's meant to be played, it is so awesome, and it's awesome to see that here now in the game
around. Get around the map, get picks with that Charm, and yes, I can confirm Charmer in the Discord saying, yes, I am a huge fan in all caps. So I think we can confirm that. Cloud9 starting up the Dragon. Tribe are approaching, and yet again,
wait a minute,
has to flash away, but this is good damage to start off from Cloud9. Niels is here on the flank, needs to be worried about that. Multiple members just diving on top of him, still alive. The Soraka healing, keeping Meals up. A Max Screen has to flash away. Battle dance to safety. Tribe cannot contest for the Dragon, but they've stalled it out. Cloud9 for now are back off of it.
And look at how they just played that fight. I mean, it was Wish. It's also the infuse that's coming out from the from the second ability here on Soraka. It forces Tribe away. It means that they can't get the Dragon and instead is going to have to pick up this Rift Herald. Super important for them in the matter that, I mean, this Mountain Drake gives them an extra shield now. So we're talking about the durability. If Cloud9 can withstand it, this shield is going to help.
Nice pick up there from Cloud9. Also request for production.
No!
Quick replay of that flash from Chuck, but also a solo kill in the mid lane, starting, catching out Meals right there. Love to see replay of how that happened. Another dive into the Dragon lane. Oh, this is just ridiculous.
It feels like Tribe just hasn't missed a beat. Speaking of, I think Jackie's going to be dead. That's a flash.
Starting is too good, everybody. Ahri, this is like a tutorial how to play the Ahri, but it is turned around still by Tarzan. We'll always get that trade, but it's just not fair. Chuck and Max Green just collapse on top. The Herald gets the turret, and an early game mountain for Tribe. Cloud9 are going to have a lot of trouble climbing out of this one.
Kangas, this isn't fair, man. Tribe, they leave literally for one major, and they're like, okay, guys, we won the first two. Good luck. I'm going to leave you guys in the hands of the other, big org teams to try and take care of you guys, try to help you train up. I'm the evil big brother. Tribe, it feels like they've been gone, but they haven't missed a beat. They've been in the hyperbolic time chamber, and they're just slamming Cloud9 early.
That's what it feels like. It feels like Cloud9 in this analogy. They're like Krillin and Yamcha in the hyperbolic time chamber. It's like, yeah, they spent their time. They get to go fight the bad guys first, but then Tribe shows up and they're like, ah ha ha ha, you missed our training arc.
So what have you guys been doing? Tribe's like, what have you guys? I mean, we're still strong. We were hoping you guys would kind of like iron sharpens iron. You guys get better amongst yourselves, but we might have to return back to our Cloud Palace for a bit. We might have to go back to the grand finals and show how it's done.
There's a reason that Tribe were favorites going into this tournament. There's a reason that they won the first two majors that they participated in. And when we look at it through that context, then we can look at Cloud9 and say, all right, so how are they hanging right now against the top dogs here? Well, looks like the answer is potentially getting dove yet again. Tribe do pull that off right now. But the bright spots for Cloud9, Tarzan having a pretty good early game on this.
Yes.
Olaf is actually in this game. So if they can get this Darius Olaf online, there's a chance that they can make the comeback. But Tribe, they're just still in this jungle. Just try to take away every camp from Cloud9.
I think the thing that is just so impressive from Tribe right now that is kind of missing from a lot of the other teams here in North America is they're not hesitating to make these plays. As soon as they see something open, Max Green or starting on this Ahri are just going for it, which you can see right here. That's Ahri. That's a kill onto Tarzan.
Yeah, right as I'm saying, he's the member that's looking pretty good here. He gets picked off by, yet again, another Charm starting, having a fantastic game number 1, and Tribe are just going for more. Diving into the jungle, taking a fight 5v4. Cloud9 have no recourse right now. That's what Tribe earned from their earlier invade. It wasn't just trying to push away Tarzan from his own jungle, it was getting vision down, controlling the side of the map while they push in 2 waves at once.
Oh, man. And this is just reminding me of the first time that I got to talk to Tigers in an interview, trying to build out their player profiles. And Tigers was saying, look, even if we go down a little bit early in a Horizon Cup and international events, I'm pretty confident in my team to be able to adapt, to be able to look towards other metas and bring that to North America. We're seeing it here. The instant plays coming out from them. I just love the aggression from Tribe, and it's showing in their advantage. We're at 8 minutes now, 8.5 minutes, and there's almost as much gold in their back pockets for them. So yeah. I'm super excited for what Tribe can do right now and how they close out this game against Cloud9.
We've had some close series today, everybody. This is not starting off as one of them. This is Tribe having a dominant performance right now in Cloud9, trying to figure out a way to stay in this game. They have some team fighting tools with Soraka to keep everybody safe, Darius to be a front line. They have some range to play with the Ziggs and the Ezreal. They just haven't found an angle to actually, put all these puzzle pieces together.
Okay, so remember at the beginning of the game when I said, hey, I think there's a low damage composition coming out from Tribe? Well, now I feel like I'm a little bit revisionist, as they're just going to blow up multiple members.
Yeah, taking the fight on multiple fronts. They got the gold lead. They can do this. And Cloud9, no retreat paths. They cannot get out of this one. Max Green keeping the fight going for even longer, chasing down, diving with Tigers. Tarzan, the last member alive for Cloud9. And I don't think that's going to last for very long here. Is chased down. Surviving through it. Might just be able to lifesteal, but Tigers has that first ability, true damage, and it does a lot. Almost goes down, but that is a clean ace for Tribe.
One way to mitigate the Soraka is you just kill her on repeat. 0 in 5 right now. Jackie experiencing what it's like to play against an engaged support as good as Max Green. And we'll get a replay of how exactly this fight went down, but it's just snap engages. They're playing on 2 different fronts here, able to kill different members, pick them apart, and pull Cloud9 across the map. It's just excellent play coming out from Tribe.
I mean, you talked about the low damage potential of Tribe if they don't have a lead. Well, at this point, it's Cloud9 that can't kill Chuck. That was basically Max Green and Chuck in a 2v3, while the rest of the team just soloed out Griff, soloed out Jackie, and then joined in for the rest of the fight. And that's what that 8,000 gold lead can do for you. Now 12,000 gold lead for Tribe. Again, when we're looking at the competition in North America, there's a reason that Tribe are always ranked at the top right there. And they're showing us that they have not been resting on their laurels.
No, not at all. They have been, if anything, it feels like they've gotten a little bit better, which is, I feel hard to say because they were just so much better than a lot of the other teams here in North America. And not seeing them for a month, we were like, okay, really hoping that Tribe and Enemy look good. So far, it seems like Immortals have really taken that to heart and have done a really good job in their last upset of the last match. But Tribe not wanting to give up their first place spot and continuing to put forward. Now, I want to see how clean they can kind of dominate this game. Because if they can't close this out, I think it kind of speaks to what Cloud9 can do.
I mean, you know what? We'll see. We'll rate them on that out, but based on how Tigers is playing there, I think that they're looking to close this one soon. He's just walking into 4 members to try and take away a buff.
Look at that!
Starting Charm onto Tarzan. Zalo on the front line. He's looking to buy some time, buy some space for Cloud9. Walking forward, that's a lot of damage traded. That's the poke of Griff. That's the poke of Meals. If Cloud9 can actually take these front-to-back fights and have Zello, survive through them, there is a chance that their range works for him. But speaking of Zello, tries to get a ward into the Baron Pit, and that was the trap set by Tribe. Picked off.
Fighting in choke points like that are huge. You have the Ziggs, you have the Soraka as well, but again, look at how much assassination that they have with the Camille and the Ari. They're just constantly setting up guerrilla warfare tactics. They're finding bushes to hide in, and they're just picking people off at this point. Tigers gets away with a hook shot. It's so difficult to pick them off as well. There's so much mobility. So Tribe, this is just, they're basically waiting until they feel confident enough to do Baron. I don't even know if they really want to do it. They can just continue to push and try to keep starting fights.
Cloud9 do not have a pick comp team. They don't have any, I mean, other than maybe Darius, who can try and pull somebody in if he's able to actually get on top of you to begin with. But it didn't even take the rocket belt enchant, instead took the stone plate. So trying to be more of that front line. Cloud9's composition really just has to wait for these objectives to spawn and then walk forward. So honestly, maybe that's something they can be looking at for an eventual game number 2. No matter how this one goes, they will have to play another one, but starting, saws the charm, lands it on Jackie! Man. Right onto the Soraka. There actually isn't a follow-up, so Jackie is still alive. A lot of damage traded back still with the range of Cloud9, but they do not find a kill on either side. Max Green even survives the 2-shot barrage.
And for Cloud9, you have to think about how this team was composed. It was around Tarzan, around trying to get him to be a huge carry for this team. And it's typically reflected in their drafts, right? They're playing a little bit of Lulu beforehand, a little bit earlier on in the circuit. You also have things like this Soraka for Olaf, which usually should mean that Olaf is unkillable. He runs into your backline, you get the wish, and you just can't get away from him if you're in the backline. But when you don't have priority coming from your mid lane, when your bot lane gets so far behind early on, so difficult for that win condition to come through.
And you got a Xayah, who's just going to press her ultimate ability and just avoid all that Olaf damage anyway. And because of what had happened in that Dragon lane, is a full item up over the Ezreal and can just completely shred through an Olaf that's ulting. It becomes very difficult, nigh impossible for Cloud9 to come back from these kinds of positions. So going back to your point, Alk, what do you think about Tribes closing out of this game? If we have to start rating them here, because they've had this lead for a couple minutes now.
I think they ran into a little bit of hiccup. I say that. It looks like the Unstoppables going in. They're healing.
Well, there's only 2 members here. Cloud9 can actually push for a lot. Starting does jump away. Those are highly mobile champions in the Ari and the Rakan.
Oh, Camille!
And Tiger's on the flank right now. Just dives in here. The rest of the team has joined in. Tigers with Chuck 2v4ing the enemy team.
Wow.
And they also have the backup of Max Green. Yeah, they just have such a massive lead right now. Cloud9 with a valiant effort and attempt. But once the enemy frontline gets onto your backline like that, there's just no way you're getting away from it. That's 4 down for 1. Absolutely a worthwhile trade for Tribe, and they might just go for the end.
I mean, Kangas, you wanted to talk about Caster Curse. You're like, oh, how are they going to close out? Well, there you go. You get a free team fight right in front of your eyes, and they just completely blow up Cloud9 yet again. This is just, I mean, a masterclass at this point on how to play your lanes and how to play incredibly aggressive coming out from Tribe. I want to see them, you're talking about how they close this out. Well, it seems like they've kind of fell into a little bit of a mid-game lull when we're talking about, hey, Cloud9 have a little bit more items. They're not as killable as maybe they have been. And since they're all kind of grouping up so much, does make it a little bit difficult to kind of find picks when you are this Ari and Rakan.
I mean, there's really no other recourse for Cloud9. If they separate, if they go into side lanes, they're just going to die there. If they group up, they're probably still going to die to this diving Camille and Rakan. It's really looking like one of those, just look at the draft, look at what you tried to do, because the strategy that we were talking about going into this game 1 was do not let Chuck have this Darius. They did it. Zello on the Darius. I don't want to discredit this player on the pick, because it really wasn't what happened in the Baron lane. It was what happened in the Dragon lane instead, and then kind of how that bled over into the Baron lane. But maybe the strategy is ban out the Darius and try and get Zello onto something that can actually engage these fights, because so far Cloud9, they haven't been able to start a fight. They have no engage tool or anything that can say, okay, this is how we find our pick.
Oh, he's on a ward, man!
Starting can just do this. Yeah, spotted off by that ward. Max Green's going for more. Mealis tries to jump away. Tarzan has to pop the Ragnarok. Now another 5v4 map scenario here for Tribe.
Cloud9 skipping steps, not clearing vision if they're going to stand on wards, and Jackie gets ultimately punished. New to the role, a role swap out of the Dragon lane and into the support duo. I mean, this is just Tribe getting Baron. They're, I mean, correctly screening off Cloud9 from even attempting to get anywhere near the pit. Might even try to find this pick on a Zello, especially with that. Look at that damage, man.
Tigers is calling for the team. Nope, let me 1v1. No one come. Old school, don't you dare. Don't you dare throw out those autos.
Oh, man.
All right, GG. Old school steals the kill. Goes legendary. And with Supers pushing mid, with Zello down for 40 seconds, Tribe are going to take another fight here.
Oh.
Cash out Tarzan.
Ooh.
Another kill over to Old
Old
School.
School.
That's the double. Still looking for more as Griff will fall down. The Ziggs bomb is thrown, but does not find any kills. And Tribe Gaming will triumphantly take game number 1 in this best of 3, saying, when will we face our challenge?
The ultimate victory lap coming out from Tribe. They may have taken their time there, but they end up still winning the game in, absolute Tribe fashion there. Still stomping all of their opponents. And we're talking about it. It's only game 1. They still have to win a second one. But when you see gold graphs like these and you see gameplay like that, 25-3, it's really hard to think of ways of how Tribe could possibly lose.
Well, again, I want to bring it back to that draft because Cloud9's composition, they needed to survive the early game. The aggression from starting, I want to highlight this Ahri player because it's old school Max Green with these crazy KDAs, like the 10-0-7. It's like, oh yeah, a lot of those were at the end. Starting was the one that got out of mid lane and just continually went into that dragon lane, diving multiple times and just completely blowing up that Soraka, and then that bled over to the rest of the map. If that didn't happen, if Cloud9's draft was able to get to the mid game relatively unscathed and even in gold, I could see a world where it could work for them. But when you look at that draft, you again see no engage and not the best, laning phases early game either from the bottom half of the map. So there's definitely stuff that Cloud9 can look at going into game 2.
I want to just highlight the first 4 minutes there for Tribe, because you have to think of what happened exactly. First, you have the double scuttle going on. Then you have Soraka dying at the same time in the dragon lane. It's just a mixture of all these different things coming together for Tribe and falling apart for Cloud9. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but your bot lane is now down. Your mid lane is not able to ascertain any kind of mid priority. And even in this bait, it makes it so that the Baron lane is super, super weak. Blows the flash, has no longer the barrier, and every single lane gets punished from what seems like a small upset from Tribe, just turns into a huge lead. And we're talking about this Ahri. Assassination potential, so sick every single time, starting insane mid laner.
I mean, based on that last series, I was looking at Hoon's Ahri thinking that might be the best Ahri in the tournament. That's probably the best Ahri I've seen. And now I just got the watch starting. So, yeah, I mean, this is a dominant performance from Tribe. They had a lot of tools, and they understood how to utilize them. They felt very comfortable on these tools as well. And you look at the map control outside of just how they did individually, how the team rotated together, how they engaged these fights and decided to take these plays. It really does feel like Hyperbolic Time Chamber. They have been doing the prep needed going into the regional finals.
Every single fight starts with superior vision for Tribe. They know when their numbers are an advantage. They know when they can take these fights. And even when you're making split map plays, this is only one of some of the other ones that we saw, but they're playing in different kind of skirmishes all across the map here, and they're winning each and every one of them. True team cohesion and just fantastic play coming out from them.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk up Tribe's praises till the end of the day, probably, or end of the tournament, hopefully. But let's take a look critically at Cloud9, because we already talked about some of the ways that they can, maybe address their draft. If we kind of want to double down on that going into game 2, Alg, I love this segment where I get to throw my color caster into the coaching room, right? The back end, the locker room talk with the team. What do we do going into game 2? How do we address what we had prepped for game 1, tweak it a little bit so that it works better for this next game?
So we have to think about two different picks here for Cloud9, the Ziggs and the Soraka, because in tandem, I think you have both the Ziggs and the Ezreal. You've set yourself up with some poke, but you need some engage. And if you're going to have the Soraka, well, you probably want some more beefy members alongside something like the Olaf and the Darius. And you have to think about where they were in the draft, right? You have Ziggs in the R2 pick, and you have Soraka as your last pick there. When we're talking about, hey, what are we going to do about the Ziggs? How are we going to protect this? The explosive potential, one of the best ways that other regions have found to punish the Ziggs is just play an assassin. Play something like this Ahri. Get up in their face. So I'm looking for Meals. What can you find in your champion pool, whether that be a Galio, whether that be something else, to try and mitigate starting in laning phase? And how do we set up Jackie for success?
Well, one part that will already be different is Cloud9 are now on the blue side. So they have changed map side for this second game. If this changes anything, still, I think Darius ban might be another adaptation that they should look at. Otherwise, they could look to blue 1 it if they wanted. But, I mean, how are we feeling about other ways to shut down this Ahri? Because maybe just save the Ziggs pick for later, or is there a counter to that Ahri? Because you've been very critical of the Ahri throughout the Wild Rift Majors, as there's things that can just stop it from what it's trying to do.
The big thing is just having mid priority. As long as you can keep Ahri in lane, she really doesn't do a lot, and that's what we saw from Tribe, where they take that first dive, they repeat it, they go for the kill onto this bot lane for Cloud9. So either keep her in lane, find someone that can match some of that wave clear that she has, or have someone that can survive the damage that she can pull off at level 5. That is the most important part for me. And now on blue side, you have to look at what they're banning. They're banning 380 carries, Senna, Ashe, and Varus. And when you're on blue side, you have your pick of the litter of what you want there. Griff has looked fantastic on things like the Lucian and the Varus. I'm excited to see if that's what they go for.
Yeah, now on blue side, they have a lot more priority around that one. They could maybe just ban away 2 and then grab that next priority one that they want to, or still look for that, better Dragon Lane matchup there. When I'm also looking at Meals' champion pool, if we're trying to deal with the Ahri pick, I love trying to theorize here. We got Orianna, we got Aurelion Sol, 5-2 on that pick, 5-0 on the Akali. I mean, yeah, now some of these were on different patches, so of course the champion pool can change based on what's in the meta. But Meals is a player that has played so many different champs. Pretty much every single available mid laner throughout the majors likes to play it all. So I think that Cloud9, we cannot count them out yet. Again, I said this at the top of the show. I'm not going to say that they have no chance of beating Tribe even after that dominant of a game 1, because this is a team that can adapt and has the champ pool to do so.
I'm looking specifically at Meals' champion pool. We're looking at Corki, Orianna, Aurelion, Sol. And if you go a little bit down, like you said, with the Akali, with the Ziggs, a lot of this still falls prey to that assassin nature of the Ahri. Has played some Lulu games, has 4 plays on it, 3 wins. You have Brand, which is a control mage, but due to his immobility, it's very difficult to play against someone like the Ahri. It's kind of hard to find those answers. Lucian has really started to fall out of favor a long time ago in the mid lane. So if you're looking for lane bullies, that just doesn't work. And I'm looking forward to what Meals and what Cloud9 come up with as their answer for this champion, whether it means, hey, toss a ban at it, I don't want to see the Foxfire anymore, or if, they try something a little bit different.
And I also want to remind everybody, and specifically remind Cloud9, you got 2 lives. There is still a lower bracket run here. So this isn't the highest pressure game of their season, but it's got to be close. And this is a team that they got to be putting in the work to reset their mentals going into a game 2 after that kind of loss. Because again, looking at their trajectory of this team, they started off hot at the beginning of the summer in that first majors, and then they've kind of been going down a peg each time since then. So it's a worrying trend for Cloud9 fans. If you're watching this team, give them your energy. Raise that spirit bomb right now, everybody, in Twitch chat, because Cloud9, they're going to need it going up against arguably the best team in this entire tournament in Tribe. With that said, though, we're ready for pick and ban for game number 2, so let's bring it up here, Alk, because again, Cloud9 on the blue side now, that will automatically change things up. If you were looking at the bans that they had last time, with all the focus on the 80 carries with the Ashe, the Senna, the Varus, if you're dropping one of them for Darius, which one do you have to drop?
I probably just want to drop the Senna. The Senna is the least kind of appetizing for me. I have not been very, very high on this champion, even throughout the Summoner series. She's had up and down performances, but my take on this champion is just, you look at the other class of marksmen that are in the role, the engage that you get from the support position as well, and I just don't think that Senna is, primo or prime when you think of Ashe and Varus. These two are very, very good in the laning phase. They have ultimates that are game-changing crowd control, and you have to think, like, we're getting rid of these champions. We're already seeing one of them. It's Rakan here from Cloud9.
Interesting. They want to take that away from Max Green. Max Green had an incredible Rakan game.
Yes.
Part of the reason that the first blood came over onto Jackie's Soraka, and then also the 2 dives that happened within the next 2 minutes as well. So already adaptation from Cloud9 saying we'll drop at least 180 carry ban for that, but Tribe Gaming still banning away that Corki. That is one of Meal's most played champions. Still can't answer into that Ahri. So if you're Tribe, there's not much that you really need to be worried about after that game number 1. Tarzan was the only one on the Olaf that kind of was a thorn in your side to start off, but you were still at least going even with him. Camille's also taken away from Cloud9. Okay, they're adapting a lot right now.
Look, blue side is OP. We've been seeing blue side win a ton of games today, not only in this series, throughout today. I mean, the first series that we got between Sentinels and Cloud9, blue side, a ton of victories. Same thing here. it is such a dominant side. That first pick is awesome. And I mean, now here we're talking about support picks. Rakan and Thresh are gone. Max Green, what do you reach for? Because you need an engaged champion. Senna has looked good for Old School and Max Green when they want to take control of the lane, but I want to see specifically from Griff and Jackie what comes out of them, because we've seen them play incredibly aggressive bot lanes, and I kind of want to see that again. I want to see that flavor from them. Soraka, it just doesn't hit those notes for me.
It really doesn't. You know what? I would bet we could see a potential Lucian Nami even coming in from Old School Max Green. Yes. When you're looking at what Max Green goes to after things like the Senna, Nami is there, 5-1, and Old School also 5-0 on the Lucian. So I think that's a scary combo that they could look at here, but it will of course depend on what Cloud9 drafts, because Lucian Nami is kind of conditional if it actually works or not. So Cloud9, they get to throw down the first gauntlet with that first pick, but before that, Tribe Gaming ban away their third champion of choice right now. Again, I don't think that you're that pressured by Tribe Gaming, but they will actually take away Ziggs. They don't want Meals to get back onto that champ.
They're trying to protect a certain mid matchup. They don't want to deal with it on red side. They can, you have counter pick on red side. Just save it. Look for something else. From Cloud9, what is your first pick? Are you going to pick up an AD? We still have Varus and Ashe on the table. You're looking at also the Darius that we've been mentioning here. Are you going to take that away from Chuck yet again? Zello, if we're talking about undefeated champions, eyes are on that Fiora because he has looked fantastic on it. Cloud9, it seems that they want to just pick up Griff, an important bot laner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this idea. Bot lane was where you kind of lost the early game in that first game, so grab something that can have more agency as an AD carry itself, but also can win lanes in itself pretty much, especially if you get the right support paired with it here. And it does kind of pressure off that Lucian Nami combo just because of the range and the dueling potential that the Varus brings alone in his kit. But Darius is up. Tribe Gaming can just insta-lock that, but no! Instead, they grab the Olaf away from Tarzan and go for the Renekton.
Okay, interesting. Now, we've seen a little bit of flexibility with these two champions. I know that Renekton has shown some lights in the mid lane, and we saw Olaf earlier today playing with MTS in the Baron lane. So, could be potential flexes here from Tribe if they really want to get fancy with it. But Cloud9, we're talking about playing... Lane. Yes, if we're talking about Cloud and playing for the king, playing for Tarzan, this is exactly it. Lulu is a flex between Jackie and Meals. I'm excited to see what we get from them.
And pretty much double marksman too, with Graves coming in here as well. That's a lot of upfront damage, a lot of burst potential from Cloud9's comp. Still, not a lot of engaged tools. I mean, you could consider the Varus ultimate, Chain of Corruption, a way to start something off here, but on the other side, Tribe Gaming, they have the Renekton who can dive in. They have the Ashe Arrow. They have the Nami with the ultimate as well to follow up on all that engage. So Tribe Gaming still just packing a lot more CC in their comp. But there we go, Alk. We get the Fiora.
I was about to say I really wanted to see not only Fiora for this top lane matchup, but also really thought that Orianna was going to be key here. We're talking about engage, and that shockwave from Meals is going to be key to whether or not we see Cloud9 try to take a victory or try to put up a defense against Tribe Gaming.
Zello, currently 6-0 on Fiora throughout the majors with an 8.66 repeating KDA. Very impressive performances, but you're up against that Renekton who still can snowball. You're up against the Twisted Fate who can ult into your lane, the Ashe who can ult into your lane. It's going to be tough for Zelda to actually play this side lane here, and maybe Cloud9's comp can bring it together here with this Orianna, because that is, again, more zoning tools, more engaged, but I'm still seeing a trend with Cloud9. Not a lot of just hard start the team fight engage tools.
Important to note here is what the mid lane matchup is going to look like once we get into the game here, because if Meals is able to take control of the mid lane against starting and prevent him from having good timers to move out and interrupt that laning phase for Zello, this is going to be a really awesome matchup for Cloud9. But Twisted Fate, I think, just makes this this Fiora Renekton matchup incredibly difficult.
All right, loaded in to Summoner's Rift for a second game of the day. Me and Outcasting together. Tribe versus Cloud9 in the upper bracket semifinals. The winner will go on to play against Immortals. Loser will get knocked down into the lower bracket here. Both these teams were undefeated going into this match. Keep in mind, Cloud9 took down Sentinels, a tough team as well. We know that they can bring it when the time is necessary. With a different take on the draft, I'm excited to see if they can actually pull it off this time around. We see Tarzan starting down the bottom jungle right now, and maybe even looking for some early action down here, but there is a ward that spots him in the tri-bush.
Ooh, that's going to be super pivotal for what they want to do here in the draft. And looking a little bit ahead, we do have the upper finals coming up after this, and we have a brand new upper finals because it's no longer tribe versus enemy. It is Immortals that is waiting for one of these teams, whether or not it's an upset from Cloud9 or if it's Tribe continuing their dominance. Should be an exciting match after this. But coming back to this one, I mean, you're looking at this. Take a look at this. You see right now, Renekton is playing really far back because Chuck doesn't know where Graves is. And he's like, if he's here, I am super doomed. I am screwed.
Tarzan might get spotted pathing through the mid lane here. Chuck does actually take a nice trade against Zello. Trying to heal up with that Conqueror, but Zello roams down, trying to secure this scuttle here as Tigers will get the bottom scuttle. And not a lot of action early on to start this one off, or at least not kills in the first 2 minutes right here. Teams are just trying to sniff each other out, see where they can find that action. But as I say, Jackie has to flash away under turret here. Griff and Jackie yet again, the recipients of all the early aggression. That bubble landed. Crazy hitbox right there. Flash from Tigers gets the first blood. It's traded back, but still Tribe getting aggressive early on, and Jackie has to walk all the way. I think tries to execute here. I think Jackie has to execute here. I don't even know if it's going to count. All right, there we go.
There it is.
That is an execute.
There were so many different things going on, not only in that Dragon lane play, but in mid lane. Orianna was in a really tough spot trying to re-enter the mid lane. We'll get a replay of this fight here, but I mean, this is just excellently played coming out from the Tribe bot lane and jungle. I mean, they play this incredibly safe. They wait for the timers, and as soon as they're low HP, Tigers just trades his life trying to get Griff behind. I mean, it sucks for the jungle matchup when we're talking about the bot lane. We're talking about Griff and Jackie trying to be carries for this team. Losing that entire wave and giving over kills is really painful to watch.
It's not the same kind of gap that we saw in that game number 1, but no. It might just be as the Ash Arrow comes through. Jackie picked off. So much CC. That was also Destiny popped by starting here. Tribe just do not want Jackie to have a fun series. They're going to go for more. The ultimate misses from Nami, but it's not even needed as an easy pickup follows through there. More gold, more kills over to Tribe.
I know Sam was talking about how good Ashe is, and I've been playing her in a couple of my ranked games. This champion is just ridiculous. We saw a little bit of this coming out specifically from the second and third major, where we saw Rest really put in a lot of time and a lot of games into Ashe. We saw more and more bans start to develop against it, but this champion is ridiculous. Does it all. Has a global ultimate. The hawk shot is so important when we're talking about playing for vision, and still has that range that can match the likes of the Varus. So super impressed what Tribe is able to do in setting this bot lane deficit really far ahead.
And it's Ashe as a tool. Every champion is a tool that has their toolbox. They can, or their tool in a toolbox. There we go. The comp is the toolbox, and they can all, together build something. What Tribe is building is impressive. They throw out the Ash Arrow, they Destiny down. Tigers is already there. The team synergy and cohesion cannot be undersold right now, because it isn't just lanes winning by themselves, it is the team winning together. And speaking of, they get priority into this Dragon lane. Again, starts walking down here for the roam preemptively as Tigers is starting up the Dragon.
This is beautiful to watch right here, coming out from Tribe. Now, thankfully, Cloud9, they realize they don't have to risk their lives to go for this. They can just go and do this. But you see this? Look at how afraid the Cloud9 bot lane has to play. They don't know where the enemy TF is. So at this point, they're playing basically behind tier 2 turrets at this point. And they don't know where Olaf is until that Dragon is taken. So they're like, well, if we get dived again, we're doomed. Our turret now gets taken. So the experience might be even, but we're looking at gold. Ashe is already almost 700 gold up, and it's now bleeding into other lanes, now in mid lane.
Yeah, Max Screen, the roaming Nami, the fabled chance of getting around the map. Forces flash out from Meals right there, so Cloud9 just have yet to find their own counter punch. It's just been Tribe throwing jabs, throwing haymakers right now. Cloud9 now approaching. They have grouped up here as Tribe trying to siege onto this top turret. They got 4 members here. Tigers flashes away,
Okay.
but what a knock-up right there for Max Green. The turret's picked up. Shockwave lands onto 2.
Oh!
We got a full team fight right now. Chuck's diving onto the backline, trying to get onto Meals. Still alive through it all. And another bubble lands for Max Green, starting chasing down Jackie. Tribe just cannot lose these fights.
Look at this. He's going in. He's still going for it. Gold card under the turret. That's Orianna dead, and that is Tribe taking 2 turrets in the span of 2 minutes there, expanding their gold lead, and just barely losing out on it. We get a replay of this fight. Look at how it's played. It looks a little bit dicey, especially with this flash coming out from Tigers, but so many stuns, and I think the Nami is so pivotal in this fight when you look at how Max Green plays this.
Yeah, Max Screen's Nami is insane. Like, this is actually ridiculous. And another one. Just to close it out there onto Tarzan. My goodness. Multiple turrets to Tribe. 1 traded, as Griff does get the bottom turret there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just a consolation prize. Tribe are absolutely running this entire series here. 7K gold advantage, actually just 6K now at 6.5 minutes. Point still stands. They're a little fed.
Yeah, you know, there's a wee bit of a gold gap right now. It's just a small one. It's just, you know, they're throwing their wallets around and beating Cloud9 over the head with it. It's like a sock full of quarters at this point. They're just running around the rift like, come at me, I'm trying to fight someone.
Yeah. They got their stick with the picnic blanket around it. Just filled to the brim with nickels, and there we go. Another knuckle shot there onto Meals. Picked off in the sideline. Tribe just have so many tools. And again, know how to use them. And now we're at the point where they are looking for these 1v1s, Zello. And all right, I'll take this, Chuck. Both ultimates are popped, but Chuck backs away. No kills go over to Cloud9. But, I mean, I was saying that before, Tribe, it's not about just winning through their individual lanes. It is about the team play. But at this point, now they can actually start to just win because of the gold advantage.
Yes, and you take a look at how they basically have just rolled this lane. We're talking about the Fiora and Renekton matchup being so awesome for Zello if he can get off to a good start, but because of what happened in bot lane, because they were able to take the tier 1, they then move into top lane, into the Baron lane, take 2 turrets, and move
Watch
over.
for Chuck flank. Watch for Chuck flank.
Oh.
A huge knockup from Max Green. Chuck gets onto the back line, and a double kill over to Tiger. Zello trying what he can to turn the play, and there's nothing to turn. Already try pick up 4 members of Cloud9.
Now, I'm going to take the coward's way out of this, and if I were Zello and I had an undefeated Fiora and I just wanted to pad stats, I would have not played him against Tribe. I'm saving this for the other team so I can slam them and let Tribe, you know, we'll blame Nano, we'll blame the coach again if I get Gragas. Well, I'll take another win in a ping pong table, but this is just like, this is a slaughter from Tribe as you see the flank coming in, and it's just, I mean, right now Tribe are just firing on all cylinders.
I think this is an example of why it's hard to use a Herald from behind. Because when you drop it down, you're signifying to your opponent exactly what your play is, what you're trying to do. So Tribe say, oh, Herald's mid. Well, we already have Prio topside. Let's just dive on top of them.
You just have no options at that point, right? Like there's no recourse. You can't make a counterplay. There's no counterpunch to it. There's just, we're putting down Rift Herald so we can spam pray G-motes in our chat that we get something for it.
Zello does at least get priority in this top lane. Baron lane has shoved out, but they cannot convert that into a contest at this dragon. So this will be a second dragon going over to Tribe. Still 11,000 gold in the lead at 9 minutes here. Cloud9, they need to be looking for the haymakers now. I don't think that there's a conventional way to come back into this game. You got to go for crazy stuff here. Maybe a pick on a Chuck could start it off, but Chuck's actually playing very safe, and it's actually killing spree for Tribe as they get another pick into that bottom lane.
He's still doing it!
Will go down, but Chuck, he's still in a 1v2 situation, almost takes down Zello. All right, well, the haymakers are now turning into, all right, try and poison their food, try and get, you know, put some rash in their, you know, deodorant, try and get them confused, distracted in any way, because Tribe are not going down right now. Zello very far forward here in this lane. All right, he's out.
So I think the real strategy, you know, we're talking about the more subtle ones, is you just lay a bunch of Legos outside their hotel room. And you just pray that they're not wearing any kind of protective footwear, that they're just running through the halls, and pray on their downfall. Go for something.
Hey, they are live.
Chuck.
They are live at local host Denver. So who knows? Maybe they can like run over and start, you know, making some crazy noises. Yeah, Tribe's like, wait, somebody at the door. Is that our pizza coming here? I thought I ordered it. But here we go, Cloud9. Again, getting caught out in their own jungle here. Tribe are just this far ahead. Zello trying what he can. Almost gets onto Chuck. Oh! Can't even pick him up. A double kill to Chuck. And Tribe with more picks will start up this Baron.
Finally, and this is a much more dominant... this sounds weird to say. This feels like a much more dominant game just in... it's like a little bit more silently oppressive. It's not just outright smashing you in the face and going for kills. Although this is nice. This feels good.
Yeah, that's outright smashing right there. Tarzan dodges the Ash Arrow, but there's a bubble coming. Come on, Max Green. I know you hit these. Oh, doesn't need it. Just lands
needs it.
The second ability instead. Yeah, all right, Tribe. How quickly can you close this one out now with Baron buff, with 2 dragons, with a 17,000 gold lead? At 11 minutes in, Immortals are watching this, sweating right now, thinking, we gotta go against this next. And Tribe Gaming will take down their first inhibitor turret of this game too. They still have Baron-empowered cannon minions. They're on the Nexus. Cloud9, they can't even defend it. That is the series to Tribe. They will be facing Immortals in the upper bracket finals.
There we go. Tribe getting it done early, getting it done quick for us here on the Summoner Series and the Regional Championship broadcast. What else can we say they haven't already said in these 2 games? I mean, they just look like the best team in North America. And honestly, if we're thinking about who we're sending to the Horizon Cup and we're talking about all the other representatives that are slowly starting to fill in, Brazil is finishing up this weekend alongside us here. This is a team to genuinely get excited for if we're talking about international events.
And it's going to be a tough international event. We got Dakun Gaming. We got Thundertalk Gaming. We got KT Rollsters that we'll have to face at the Horizon Cup. And we want to make sure it's our best team, Tribe, making a statement that, hey, we think it's us. With a dominant, now 4-0 so far in the regional finals here. Yeah, I mean, Tribe, what more can we say about them other than still looking like the best team in the region?
Well, I can come up with a few more things to say. Crowd control, crowd control, crowd control. I feel like that was quite the story between both the drafts when I'm looking back at it. That first round, we let them have Darius, right? We talked about it before we went into the draft and we were saying, hey, Darius might be a hot pick, a contested pick. Cloud9 gets Darius, and it turns out Darius doesn't matter if he can't actually do anything. The charms between Ari and Rakan were very on point, and then we had better engage from that comp as well. Then you go to game 2, and it's a ton of stuns, right? You've got Ashe, you've got Nami, even Renekton and Twisted Fate both have stuns available as well, and so there was not really, in my opinion, much that Cloud9 could do once the fights started. They were kind of starting at a disadvantage, and then once Tribe starts to snowball, they just continued to punish them. But the other thing that I want to highlight is the number 4. That is the total number of kills that Cloud9 had across the entire series. It was 21-1, and it was 25-3. And so as we're looking ahead to our upper bracket finals, if I'm Immortals, I know that I'm riding high off of my reverse sweep victory against Enemy, but you got to sit up and you got to take notice. You got to go get the heart pumping. You got to focus in because you've got to do better than 4.
Lean.
You've got to do better than
gamer
4.
lean.
So is 4 now their benchmark? Is as long as they get 4 kills or more? Well, it is a best of 5 though, so that they get 1 extra game to throw some in there. I don't know how that factors into the ratio. Is it just 2 per game on average?
I mean, it was 1 and 3, but nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Immortals kind of stacks up because they've crossed that threshold, and now we're going to see if they can continue to further elevate themselves as far as the Wild Rift discussion goes in North America. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with that. Again, it's going to be our upper bracket finals. It will be Immortals taking on Tribe that we just saw deliver a beating. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.